Once we're clear about what the theory of order loop is and how I like you to see it without the need for indicators, without the need for quantum level data and so much fuss, just with what the chart is offering you, then I'll show you some examples so that you can visually understand different scenarios too. So you already know that all I want is for you to understand that there are specific areas, simply that, specific areas that the price selects, and from those areas it does what it does. In this case, we were talking over here about this responsible person who brought up this other person, and in turn, look how this area, the price leaves it, returns to it, makes a continuation, but with rejection. So the rejection comes and takes the high it has to take, and this high, but at the same time, once it reaches the order flow area, it tries to continue the complete pattern, which would be the tap and the double top swipe, giving the first tap and doesn't manage to, but breaks it. So that's when this person in charge becomes an important person in charge, because I want you to understand how to make that reading. Because if you don't, if you become very mechanical in reading the price, what will happen? What will happen is that there will be someone responsible for removing this logo. Someone will be in charge of removing certain highs and lows. At each crucial point, a person will be responsible for adjusting these elements. Someone will be tasked with removing this high, and another with removing this low. Each will be responsible for their part, causing confusion. People won't grasp what's happening. They'll think prices are fluctuating everywhere and be unsure of their decisions. So the idea is not to have them mechanized, taking trades everywhere with this. The idea is to have a clear area from which they are planning to take a trade, and once the price reaches that area, they will start reading order. Order flow is not structure. Structure is making swing highs, swing lows, body closures, etc. Order flow is the way this positioning is generated, and the structure of the higher time frame is built from the lower time frame. Once the price gets there, every change in order flow in my favor and every confirmation by order flow will be a confirmation in my favor. The trade that I'm looking for, so the first thing is the break of that responsible one. The second would be the break of the last area that was generated. To then consider a flip, then what could I also consider if this area was generated by some area around here? The break of that area too, so as to avoid a double top from that area and where that would take me. Then making those order changes or those confirmations as well. That fails the price, tries to make another low, but fails to do so. That's order flow, understanding how the price starts to paint the candles at a specific point. So I know it's going to generate a market structure in a certain direction, so dedicate a lot of time to understanding it. And I'm going to show you some examples that I have in my disk. In fact, I have several here. Here's my disk. In this study cases channel, I have a lot of topics. Order flow this here, these microstructures, an incomplete zone. The price ended up taking this high, I remember it very well. All this is order flow, look in the middle, how the price makes body closes, here body closes. So what seems to be a structure change to the downside, but the price from the beginning, which area did it take from us? It validated this. In my Discord, I have some, but I'm going to show you some that I have more privately. Look, it's with a simple fractal. So there are those examples in the study cases of the Discord. For those who want to go deeper there, you have access to all that information. Before showing the examples, I mentioned something else that I forgot to tell you in the last video. Dave is the author of DTFX. He gives me the impression that what I call order flow, and which is my way of understanding order flow and reading the price and how that double bottom is formed. He calls it MMS. Lately he has been posting about it on his Twitter, saying that his optimal favorite setup is MMS, and this translates to multiple mitigations. He doesn't see it as order flow, but rather as multiple mitigations. What does multiple mitigations mean? It means that the price reaches an area. A bunch of times, you can reach it and make new headaches, leaving a bunch of lows in that same area. That's what he calls multiple mitigations. I like to see it more, and I've always liked to see it more from the way I explain it to you. Taught people individually for many months, but now I see that he was talking about this publicly. He doesn't teach it for free either, but that's what he calls multiple mitigations. For those who already know the system and have seen that he talks about that, then that's the way I explain how the price reaches an area, and from there forms the complete setup of the tap and the double bottom, or the sequence of this. And remember, it doesn't matter what name we give to things. The market is doing the same thing, call it whatever you want. I just give you specific names so you have a guide, and that's it. Stick with one name, the name you want to give to things. The important thing is to understand the theory. And for those who are not so obsessed with knowledge and understanding everything in depth like me or like some will be, do it in the way that feels most comfortable for you, and that's it. Well, now I'm going to quickly show you the examples. Over here we have an area, the price left it, opening hours. This is going to be something they will face with a wick that could be a rejection. So it could indicate that it's not a valid area by structure, because there was no body close. Well, that's going to be an issue. Also that they will see volatility of the moment. So sometimes when we are at the opening, I even go down to a 2-second time frame, not even 5 seconds, because the volume is so strong that there are moments when we will never see body closes in a minute. I work with low time frame structure. It is here. What could have happened? Well, what I do pay attention to at times is the displacement. Let it not be a short rejection, but rather that there was a good displacement. So for me, it did close below this on a shorter time frame due to that strong displacement. It returned to the area, to these bullish candles. That last bullish move before we left, it returned to it and then left again. So what did the price do when it came to that area and continued to be it? It validated it. So what is our protected hike? The high of the validated area by order flow, not the first tap. Remember that the first tap is the one that can be swiped, and look at the precision with which the price comes here and swipes the first tap, but continues to protect the high of the fractal that left the price here, return to the valid, and left. But then what happened here in terms of structure? And this is where I tell you, understanding order flow will make you not even look at structure anymore. That the order flow will tell you everything and how everything moves, and they will stop being so focused on highs and lows. You'll see the prices by areas, specific areas. They will start working with areas in specific that the price is indicating. So look how it ended. A very evident structure change, valid pullback, then closure with body below this, then closures with body above this. What is that? A structural change to the butt. The price did not open this door. As I told you in the previous video, those order areas are doors, especially the responsible one, which is usually our first door. But look how here, it does not open that order door, because this was the last point, where the price gave us a continuation of a fractal notice, that since the price started to fall, it did not evidently return to an area to take it out and leave. Look here, it tried, it did not succeed, it did not give continuation until here. What did it do? A double top from this fractal, from this hidden ascending, that would be the responsible one. And that here, I knew it a bit. Look how I swiped the tick, and there, with the pattern complete, the double top made the strong move, but then it came in the opposite direction. Ready, it took all that. It took the area from where it made that pattern, but then reached the next area that was there by order flow and didn't take it out. So when the price makes this rejection from this high that starts to go down, it makes another bullish attempt in what would be a higher time frame responsible if I move this up to 5 minutes. Talking again about multi-temporality, it's going to eliminate small fractals around here and here, and this is going to be the area of greatest consolidation and highest volume before breaking this. So it's going to be this area responsible for all of this here, having broken this high. And look at how the price reaches it and makes an attempt to go bullish. But then comes this flip that happened here from the rejection. 50%, a little more. And it starts to go away. Opens that door for me. Now it's distributing. That double top. If we see it with the sequence. What would this be? The 4 and the 5. What is the target of the 6? Because it did not break that validated area by order. It is when I have a structure change. I have to be careful that when the pullback to the structure change is happening, it is not a distribution by order. It is not the double top pattern, because if not, I will be playing against my own system. Of course, 50% of this structure change, that the price made nothing, a minimal reaction there, and it ended up going completely reached the origin, a small reaction. Well, it could not beat the previous area. It could not give me that flip. Again, it took everything. Here, ready, the price gets here, does a flip, takes this out. From there, it takes the high that made this perfect low. It left me without mitigating the flip, and here it generates this fractal to which the price abandons it, returns to it, and from there the price goes. Then this move that it made validates me. This area, remember that we shouldn't guess the area, just to be sure. It is simply so that the price validates it for me, while we learn and gain more experience to be more aggressive. The price validates it for me. Then look what happens here. The price comes back, closes with body above, here, and here it takes out. But it does two things. It rejects it, and in the tick, it respects that the low of the area is valid. Therefore, what I'm going to do is two things. One, take a possible long trade. Look, even a flip in 5 seconds here of this one. You have to set this low, and this one will take it out. This one has a pullback to the flip area, and it goes. And additionally, it gives me the rejection. So I already have the sweep, what would be in the sequence that we saw at the end of the previous video, the 4 and the 5 here. And this would be the 2, so 1 breaks a swing, 2 retracement to the area, 3 continuation, 4 and 5 the sweep of the first tap and the double bottom, and 6 the target here. So this will prevent you from taking shorts on this supposed flip. There are people who see this low and already take 50% off this last upward move to look for shorts, and they leave. So I don't want you to be too mechanical, because being mechanical with this system will bring you a lot of unnecessary stops. I prefer people to understand the price. If you don't like understanding the price, stay in mediocrity and look for something mechanical and expect your process to be slower and more painful. Well, over here. Let's start from here. It arrives over here with the levels. It starts doing a flip downwards. It starts respecting this flip. It reached 50%. Continued well. Then here, look how it returns to this area. Then gives a continuation. What is our last validated area so far? It's this one. What is the trap area? Always the last one generated, the most recent, and that hasn't been validated. That's the one the price can always sweep to return to the validated area. And because it's the first one, the price comes here and takes this out. And there will be people looking for longs because they saw a flip here, taking out this high, and it got taken out. Because what was the price actually doing? The double top tap from this specific area. And well, this over here is another way I have to validate order flow. I have several ways to validate order flow, but I don't want to complicate things. So the previous video shows you the most frequent and effective method. So I'm going to skip this part because it starts to look like a battle of order flow again. Here it gives a flip. So notice how it takes out the high that put this low, retraces to the area and gives a continuation, and the price starts from this area. You'll notice that consolidation, specifically in a consolidated market profile, usually happens between 2 or 3 areas battling their own order flow dynamics. This originates from here, and by the way, you remove the logo. But taking out this low implies going back to the area where that first tap was generated, so this becomes a double bottom. Then the double bottom doesn't fulfill its function, which is taking out the high. It doesn't comply, it doesn't comply, it doesn't comply. So when the price has such difficulty fulfilling its function, what can one expect but a pullback again for what? To seek more orders. So I don't know, the gas ran out from this impulse, and we have to come back for more gas. Make any analogy you want. The important thing is that you understand how the price moves, because it makes pullbacks to where they do. And when those pullbacks are completed to now make a strong move here that puts the top first, then the double bottom. And now it takes it. But we are still in the area that is holding the price. It now reaches 50%. And again it comes and takes this away. And so the market stays within that. You look at like all the lows and highs in the middle of these two areas are being swept all the time. So if we don't learn to identify the areas from which the price is trading, then the market will mess with us. But once we understand it, everything becomes beautiful. Trading becomes very easy over here. This marked a false flip responsible, since the responsible was not violated done. Body above, then the low that set this high. We close it to the tick with the body below, but then it takes this high again, because what happened is there's a responsible here, which is our first door, to open, to confirm, in this case if we want to go short. And here it gives us that structure change in this time frame to the downside. So I want to come and look for a short from here, not because what does the price form of this responsible that hasn't been able to break and hasn't been able to confirm that change in order flow? The tap and the double bottom. Strong movement. Here, I am responsible for this entire swing area. This is the highest point, the high. This is the low. This is that last consolidation. So that is the responsible one. Additionally, the price reaches several times, and from the EMEA below, the price can do whatever it wants up here. But if it eventually returns to this area, and I want to look for shorts, when the price starts coming back here, the best thing I can do is wait for that area holding the price, the order flow area, to break. If it doesn't break, everything I want to look for in shorts will be at risk. And indeed, there's a flip here, a retracement to the flip, a double bottom, and it starts to go. If I remember correctly, this ended up going up because the structure was very beautiful. It makes structural changes in this time frame and everything, but if I don't understand order flow, I don't understand those areas in particular. The price will constantly be confusing me with the structure going up and down. Here is a responsible fractal. That last fractal, which in seconds would have been responsible for the rest under this movement, did not generate even a single contrary candle. So I stay here, the origin. That's why I take it as responsible. The price even gets here to it in this pullback and then goes. So it validates it by order flow, right? And what did the price do here when it arrived? In fact, this market day was beautiful for those who could study it from down here and look to the left from where all this was generated. It was quite beautiful. If I remember correctly, it was an NFP week, also an important news event, but this price action was beautiful. So here I am left with the responsible for taking out the responsible. So look what starts to happen up here. The price gives me a valid pullback on this time frame, despite it being such a small fractal. Let's apply the theory strictly. Therefore here it looks like a structure change because there is a continuation with body. Then it closes with body below this, but where do we reach? The responsible for breaking that. Responsible. Look how the price from there does a flip for us. And this is hidden ascending. Because this is hidden ascending. Who remembers why this is a higher time frame? It's a wick. When we have a strong candle in one direction and its immediate counterpart in the opposite direction, this is a wick in a higher time frame. We know there's a lot of volume there. It does this to me. And in that sense, it goes and takes out the high of this fractal, which is why we have the flip. And look how beautifully it reaches 50% of that structure change to now come to the responsible for taking us out of this area and having these bearish impulses that we had. So it touches this and immediately retraces almost 50% of that flip and touches the responsible. It's 50% and goes bullish again. So this price action of that day is super beautiful. Here is a responsible for taking this out. And look here more clearly what I was telling you about multiple mitigations. The price makes a bunch of lows. It goes and look at the number of times the price gets here and can't break this area. There's a very obvious positioning from this area until it finally leaves and takes out this high from here. It leaves this area responsible for taking out this high, quick pullback from it, and it goes. Here's an example very similar to the previous video, responsible for taking out this low and making all this downward movement. It was that last opposite movement left here, the one responsible for taking out that responsible. And it even takes the origin too. From the price on the day of the 30%, it continues, but the continuation rejects a little, thus forming the double bottom. And look how it respects it perfectly to the tick. This responsible originates from another fractal around here. So price can sometimes swipe this and keep protecting it. For execution and stop loss, caution is needed with fractal after fractal. Instead of guarding the first low, be more careful with a further back fractal. This helps shield against unexpected price moves. And then we'll talk about that later. Here's the perfect example of a false structure change. So we have this area that's within this entire area here. If we take out this high, we have this area that reached its 50. I could calculate it is also at the 50 of this entire area, since we took out this high, and it gives a perfect continuation. It gave the continuation, and the price takes out this responsible one. Then look how in this pullback, you take out the responsible for taking out this high. What can I expect after the responsible one? That the price continues to the next door. What is the next door? The origin. It reaches the origin. It gives me the pullback to the flip area that was here with that responsible one, 50% of that area, and that generates what for many could be here a structure change also by taking out this high. Its lowest point between our new high and the previous high is this, which is supposedly the protected low. It comes and takes it out with body. So if I have all that structure change because here it takes out the high again, because from this area that validated me with this continuation, the double bottom tap was generated, double bottom, then the 4 and the 5, and it moves to 6. Well then, false structure changes, easy to identify with order flow. Let's see what other example I can find around here that's worth it. This one is similar to an area, price came back, continued, broke this high but rejected. This low is at great risk. It's a weak low, not for taking longs yet. It gets swiped. Perfect. This isn't a change of structure downward. Why? We're still in this area, there's the double bottom touch, and now we continue higher. Same thing here. There was a flip when this high was taken. Retrace to it. Continuation. Retrace again. More continuation. See how all these lows get taken out here at this point where the price came back, but it can't take out the low of the area from where it all started. And look. See what it creates when it can't break through an order flow area. That's where I was telling you. There are specific areas they are protecting, and that algorithm that's achieving a goal is protecting up to a certain point where it reaches a goal and the order flow changes. Over here again, a responsible one to take out a responsible one is the one responsible for taking us out of this wolf, for giving us a structural change, a lower time frame, in this case 5 seconds. It took it out, quickly returned to it, and continued from it. Here it creates a double top with this high, fails to give a considerable distribution. On the contrary, it takes it out, which wants to tell us to remove that bearish positioning that was here, which now transfers to bullish positioning. What does the project do here? It taps and resumes. What happens next? All of it gets removed, even nearby. But then that's a change of structure, not necessarily. It was just a tap and the double floor to now complete the full pattern. This is the same way in which the price always makes its pattern to confuse everyone trying to guess in the middle and finally make the distribution, because the price accumulates its low IPA and its high IPA, because those who move this price are the ones who really have a lot of money, and so much money needs a lot of order liquidity to be able to enter the market. Those people who have so much money and the institutions will not be able to enter the market with all their capital from here. From here is the first top. They can't. There's no way to fill so many orders at once. The price just does that. put Trump. It happens in both directions. It accumulates everything, but they select a specific area, and from there, the whole pattern starts. And once they have filled all the possible orders they needed, that's when a movement as strong as we usually see after the double bottom here happens. This fractal with the price starts. Well, this is another validation of the order. As I was telling you, I have one that is not yet with continuation, but in another way. The valid and accepted bottom, and look how it mitigates it, mitigates it, mitigates it, and not the price. Well, this is quite a nice range. This is a study case, similar to what happened here, for those who want to study a lot. As I say, in my Discord, I share a lot about this, how the price does it, how to know that it is a false change of structure too. So it did this here, it reached this origin, it went perfectly, which leaves us with a responsible party, right? It leaves us with a party responsible for removing this. But the price reached this origin. Look, it's already considered a target achieved. Our same areas are our same targets when we are operating. So opening a first door, a validated area from which the price returns to it, to a continuation of the complete pattern. But here we take it out, so they are responsible. But what follows the responsible one is the origin of all that movement. He arrives, now he comes to fight with the responsible one. First door, he doesn't break it, so he comes to search up here, finding a responsible one here to take all this out from here. Now if he takes it out, leaving us a responsible area for taking this out, and it's from that area that the movement is made. Look, this is 5 seconds. I'll show you in 5 seconds, in a minute, in whatever time frame you want. I can show you daily what happens when no one takes responsibility. Let's see. This is from the beginning of last year. Here we have a swing high. Here we have a responsible party. Over here there is a change in structure, right? But it reached a responsible party for all this upward structural change in the larger time frame. The door wasn't opened at 50%. We go perfectly. It takes all of this. Now yes. And what is this? This is daily. This one I sent as a prediction to my Discord and posted publicly with the trap I just showed you. What is this responsible for making this swing happen? 50% precisely when I'm showing you in seconds on a daily basis. Weekly in anything, in Nvidia, in gold, in crude oil, wherever this works. The same any market with real liquidity. It's going to work. The same way here. This is also responsible for getting us out of here. The price couldn't break that level when it got here. So let's see what else we find here. Look, even with a smaller fractal. I'm here, I'm low. Oh wait. I'm low. Look how the tick respects it. And this is going to be responsible for what? In a smaller time frame. Let's see if I make it. I don't get it. The plan isn't clear. The plan isn't coming through to me, but there, we'll see. Even though I mention it to them, it's responsible in a shorter time frame. We're looking at it on the 4 hour as a hidden. It's in the daily now. In the 1 hour it looks like a contrary candle. So yes, it's the responsible one, and the price reaches all this drop, but it doesn't manage to open that door for me. All this starts to be at risk around here. What do I start to see? The price forms a double top. What's the function? To continue? It doesn't continue. On the contrary, it takes it away. So, what is the price telling me? And the bearish isn't fulfilling its function, whereas the bullish is. And the bearish door didn't open, therefore we remain bullish from this moment. It's that simple. Understand order flow, and you'll see how you'll view the price very differently. This area, again, a validation I use, which is different from continuation. It does but fails to make a new high multiple times. Then it comes and takes out this low with bodies with everything here. There was a structural bearish change in lower time frames. But what actually formed then? From this area, the tap and the double bottom took all that out. So study the price like this with the information I've given you so far. Responsible origins. Fulfillment of duties, all that, and they will understand the market in a very different way all the time, and they won't depend on specific hours, macro hours, or days when there are news events, and they have to avoid days without any market day. They will understand it with this theory. I gave you some examples over there. I'm going to quickly go through another one here. Oh well, here I was gradually marking this scenario, how it was being generated. This was transitioning from those responsible to those responsible. Actually, the order was from here to back, but well. Here again, tab continuation. Then its IP to the first tab becomes double tab floor from this area. And there you see the price. See how everything is the same. Here comes this origin. But it does not break this responsible in this impulse. It does not open this door. So this wolf is in danger. When the price starts to go like this wolf is in danger. Because it did not open that door yet. For me to go bullish. Respecting the responsible that takes this area. Oh well, the example we saw earlier about this. Then see how the price does come. And now take out that area. So take charge, remove this barrier, and embrace responsibility. And it comes to him, and that's where the bearish movement happens. So be patient, waiting for your confirmations, wait for Orderflow to tell you. In reality, the price wants to go in one direction here again. This area comes to it. It continues then here. Swipe to the first tab, double top, and it starts to go. Do not chase the price when the price is reaching areas validated by order flow through here with this area. See how the price started to make new lows after breaking these but came back to make hikes. Because they followed this area that had given a continuation. Let me show you countless examples. The trap, validated area, tapping, and double bottom. And again, the high is taken out. Many fall for false short switches here because they don't understand order area. It comes to her next. Responsible for taking out both this high and this area, confirms to me. Then by order, flow the responsible one for clearing the area, validated by order flow. Never comes. My origin. Never came my change of structure. Is that the price is leaving without me. Understand? Order flow. Well, in the next videos, I will be explaining what executions are, and there will be pretty interesting surprise video. That's all for order flow. It's not the entirety of all the knowledge that I might have about order flow, but I want to make the playlist as concise as possible, as simple as possible, in quotes. I can't condense knowledge of years and thousands of hours watching the market every day into half-hour videos, but I will leave you with some tools to show different scenarios of that.